Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Sideline Junkies proudly present. Now I'm playing, but welcome to another edition of the Thursday night throwdown presented by the Sideline Junkies. See, I was playing around and I got myself all caught up. It's me, it's the big guy KG, sitting in this thing with the undefeated, the incomparable, the always ready, never late, always on time, Midnight Rider.
What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. How you feeling tonight?
Yo, I already know there's something on deck, so I'm not even going to. Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep my religion.
Well,
I'm gonna try to keep my religion.
That's all right. We're gonna jump right into this thing because we got a lot to cover. We're gonna do it within the allotted time. So, man, championship weekend is here. The NFC Championship game is Sunday at 3 o'clock. The Philadelphia Eagles host the San Francisco 49ers. Eagles are 2.5-point favorites, which is kind of crazy because you get 3 for being at home.
Not no more.
Over under is 46.5. Thank you, FanDuel, who does all our lines all season long. Midnight Rider.
Yes, sir.
Brock Purdy versus Jalen Hurts.
Okay. What we got? What you asking?
Wait. That vicious Philly offense. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith versus that vicious 49ers defense.
The Batman. Yes.
So my question to you is, who wins this game on Sunday? Thank you for taking my call. I'll hang up and listen.
Whoa. We got a whole show to do on Sunday. We can't be giving up content. We can't give up the content. But I do look forward to this matchup.
This is a way too early pick.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah, it's way too early. I'll do lunch right now to lean if I got to do it that way. Is I like Philly. Because Philly's line and everything's been dominant. This is going to be one of those classic matchups, but I don't think we're going to get high-scoring teams going to fight out. Both defenses are going to do their thing. I'm going to love seeing Joey Bosa, going against the Philly line. And I'm going to like seeing the defensive line for the Eagles going against Trent and company. So I think we're going to have some battles for people that, like, if you like offensive line play, you're going to have a battle there. You like cornerback on receivers, you're going to like the matchups there. The backs and the linebackers, like, I think every facet of this game is going to have an interesting matchup to where you're going to be satisfied as a fan watching this ball game.
I agree. And I think, dare I say it, this is going to be a true, unadulterated shootout. I think it's going to be a lot of defense played. I don't think it's going to be a 10-7 shootout. I mean, you're going to have Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts going shot for shot. And when I say that, I'm not talking basketball. I'm talking about you're going to have one deep ball. The other one's going to come back, throw a deep ball. They're going to throw crossing routes and deep sevens and comebacks and everything. This is going to be a damn good game. I think I'm looking more forward to the NFC Championship game than I am the AFC Championship game. And I kind of sort of wish the AFC Championship game was early like it used to be. But it is what it is. Way too early pick. I got to go with Philly. Got to.
Okay. So
I'm not going to knock nobody if you go the other way. And normally I wouldn't even say anything about Philly because it's Philly.
All right.
So, but it's all good. It's all good.
But see, I also
go ahead.
Like this is rarely in the world do we get the Final Four with, I think, the best 4 teams playing at that time. Sometimes there's somebody that gets a oops or a hiccup and gets in this. But I think honestly, this is probably one of the better championship weeks because even if you handicap it early in the year, I think you ended up with the four of the 5 or 4 of the 6 best teams in football. So there's no way you're going to feel cheated this weekend.
You shouldn't.
Unless somebody just doesn't show up.
A lot of people are wondering, is this going to be the end of the road for Brock Purdy? And will this be his game to hiccup? And he finally drops it. And a lot of people are saying, hey, this kid can win. What is this? He wins this game. This will be what? Win number 7 in a row for him?
I think he's more like 8 or 9.
Is it?
Yeah, he's getting into that Ben Roethlisberger territory that Roethlisberger had the year he took over for Tommy Maddox.
Yeah, and Roethlisberger, what? They went 15-1 that year, didn't he? Roethlisberger won 11 straight.
Something like that.
This will be number 8. He was 5-0 in the regular season, 2-0 in the playoffs, and he has played very, very well in these playoffs. Brock Purdy, 37-49 in 2 games, completed 62% of his passes, 546 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks.
And that's the most important part, is the no picks and the fact that the offense is moving no matter what. Exactly. I think one of the precursors is just moving the football, getting McCaffrey and Jeff Wilson the ball and letting them do their thing. And then you just supplement it with the passing game. And then you get your little Debo plays. And then, I mean, if they had one more receiver, like, I like Brandon Ayuk, but I think Brandon's closer to Debo than he is like a AJ Brown or somebody like that. So I think his next development step would be becoming a better receiver on the outside, just a little bit better. And this offense takes off, or if they draft a kid or find a kid, because these young rookie wide receivers, they don't play around. I mean, we talked about it the other night. You had your Doxsons of the world. You got your Olaves, Garrett Wilson. I think Wilson and Olave both were over 1,000 yards. Then you had Doxson about 600 or 700 yards. And you have a class coming in this year that's going to be, I'm not going to say they're going to be on that level, but they'll be just a step below this class that just came out. And then you have your, I think it's Kenwan Butte from LSU. You have Jackson Smith and Jiba from Ohio State. You got the kid from TCU. I think it's Quentin Robinson. And I apologize if I got that name wrong. But you've got guys that are going to be, there's going to be like 4 receivers taking this first round, maybe 5. And then next year, going into next year, the crazy thing about it is probably one of the better wide receivers of the class that we just had with Garrett Wilson and company is James Williams, who hopefully, if God is willing, he'll be healthy enough and he'll be in Detroit with Amon St. Brown. And that offense could look very dangerous next season. So too early prediction, but I think the Lions will win the North next year. So if there's a line out there, I'm taking it.
Okay. Here's my thing. And I'm going to say this. With this San Francisco team, you talked about their receivers. You got, of course, Debo Samuel. You got Brandon Ayuk. What about your man, Ray McLeod? What about Juwan Jennings?
Ray McLeod he's your guy. He's the kid from Clemson. So, yeah, he's a returning specialist. He's going to do his job there, but I don't see him. Like, I think, this is the beauty of Kyle Shanahan. They're going to use him like the kid Aldrick Robinson. If you remember that name from Washington in 2012 with
Triple A.
He was a deep threat. You throw him in there. Yeah, you just throw him in there and then you send him on a fly. And if teams didn't recognize the scouting report and know he was the burner, they got beat. And you see a similar thing because they had another kid last year. His name is escaping me. But San Francisco keeps a burner on their team every year just for that reason, just so that person gets behind the defense and makes it happen. Jennings, he's been inconsistent. Like he had a game, I think, last year where he had 2 or 3 touchdowns in the playoffs, but he just doesn't give you anything every like every week. And maybe that's the design of the offense, but he's just a little too inconsistent for me.
I got you. Now on the other side, you got the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts, Notre Dame alum Ian Book is the backup with Gardner Minshew. In the backfield, you have Kenneth Gainwell, Miles Sanders, Boston Scott. Nice little running attack they got there, little multi-head monster. AJ Brown, Zach Pascal, Devontae Smith, and Quez Watkins, and and also don't forget Dallas Goedert on that offense as well. So Philly ain't no slouch. I will say that Philly's no slouch.
Philly ain't, and well, you got the Batmans, skinny Batman, muscle Batman, and the other Batman, fast Batman, I think is what they call him.
Fast Batman. You breaking up really, really bad.
All right, I'm gonna hop out and then hop right back in.
Okay. While we waiting on the Midnight Rider, talking about Jalen Hurts. Hurts was out for a little while, and the thing is, we were worried about his shoulder, him coming back in his shoulder. Let me pull up his 2022 statistics. 15 games. He was 14-1 as a starter. That one loss came against Burgundy and Gold. Let's say that. Career high, 306 completions, 66% completion rate, 3,701 yards, 22 touchdowns, over 6 interceptions. And his QB rating was 101.5. Can't beat that. He even ran for 760 yards and 13 touchdowns. In the playoffs, he only had the one game because Philly had the number one spot. 16-24, 154, and 2 touchdowns, no picks. And like the Midnight Rider said, you don't want any picks. You won't want your guy to throw any picks. So, we're going to switch over to the AFC Championship game. And this is a game that everybody is already calling a W for Cincinnati because Joe Burrow is 3-0 against Patrick Mahomes. They're already calling Arrowhead Stadium Burrowhead Stadium. That's what they're calling it now. They're calling Arrowhead Burrowhead now because Burrow has 3 wins against Patrick Mahomes. Now we looking at this. Let me pull up my FanDuel here. Thank you, FanDuel, for providing the line. Kansas City's on a 1-point favorite at home. That's another rough line. It's too early to tell, but 47.5 is the over-under. Midnight Rider, way too early prediction. Cincinnati versus Kansas City.
Bengals. Not even second thought, not even third thought. Like Burrow, when I watch Burrow play, he's in a zone right now that like you don't see quarterbacks play like this. And it started with the Buffalo game where it just seemed like whatever you do, I got to answer for. So you tell me how you want me to slice and dice it. At times I feel like he drops in a little training day and he's like, Jake, I'm surgical with this. And that's how he is, man. He just gets surgical with that right arm and he takes teams apart, and they have enough of a running game and enough diversity in their passing attack to make this something special. No offense to KC, but I think it's going to be a struggle. I mean, you got a high ankle sprain, even though you can throw from any platform, and you probably one of the best off-script throwers of the football in the league. I think it's just too much for them. And I think for them to win, the guy that has to play big for them is going to have to be Juju. And if it's not Juju, it has to be what's my guy from the Giants?
Kadarius Toney.
Kadarius Toney. So those are the two things. So that's just how I see it. I just think they got to make some plays, some other people outside of Kelsey, in order for this to be a win for him. What you got, man? I think I'm on a delay.
I'm looking at what they're saying about Patrick Mahomes. High ankle sprain is nothing to play with. In my honest opinion, this is revisionist history. I think a high ankle sprain is what kept the Jacksonville Jaguars a couple of years. Well, no, it was 1 year. I can't remember what year it was. What kept them from going to the Super Bowl? Because Mark Brunell had a high ankle sprain. They had to start Rob Johnson. I think that's nothing to play with, and it takes longer to recover from a high ankle sprain than it does a regular ankle sprain. And if Mahomes is healthy, they say he's walking around, no problems, no issues, no nothing. Okay, then we're gonna get ourselves a duel. But if Mahomes is hurt, it's like Cincinnati has to be like a shark, and you put blood in the water. They see that chum, they gotta attack. And I'm not saying, beat the shit out of Mahomes, but I'm saying beat the shit out of Mahomes. But too early. I'm taking Cincinnati. No, I'm good. I'm way too early. I'm taking Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I just think the other problem was very underrated is Cincinnati's defense and how, we always talk about building a team. This is definitely one of those defenses where it's an 11-man defense. It's not there's no superstars. You're not running out to get DJ Reader. You're not running out to get Sam Hubbard, or Eli Apple or any of those guys. It's a team. It's a full 11-man effort that makes this thing go work. And I think that's the biggest difference in what gives them the flexibility. I'll be curious to see once they end up paying Joe what approach they take to building their defense. Because that's going to be the key. Like, how do you keep this juggernaut rolling? And they're going to have to start like moving guys and losing guys. But do they draft well enough in the future, or do they sign the right guys to keep this train on the tracks? Because they're another team that I feel like the next 5 years you can either alternate it, you can put names in a hat, but Cincinnati, Buffalo, and Kansas City are going to be there. And maybe Kansas City doesn't make it the full 5. Maybe make it 2 or 3 more, and then maybe Miami supplants them or something like that. But it's going to be a tough stretch and a tough run to come out of the AFC.
And I think that's always the case. And here's the thing. And I know this is not indicative of the way players think right now. If you're winning and you're in the Super Bowl every year, are you really going to squawk about money? Yeah. When you have a chance and you're a Super Bowl favorite every year and you're actually walking into the dance? Yeah. I'm not going to squawk about money because I got a chance to win a ring. And like I said a couple of shows ago, you can lose the money, you can lose the fame, the women, for some guys, the dope. You can lose everything, but they can't take that ring away from you. They can't take away your name on that plaque that says you played for that team in that Super Bowl. They can't take that away from you. And when they introduce you anywhere, they call you Super Bowl champion. Some things are more important than money. I'm just saying. That's just me and my crazy mixed up head.
No, I get it. I mean, you probably would do the Tom Brady and give him.
You breaking up.
I don't know if I do that.
You breaking up. I ain't hear a word you said. All I heard was Tom Brady.
Discount thing. I guess the gerbil didn't get his paycheck this week. Go ahead and carry on, man.
I told you get 2 of them.
I'm working on it.
Okay. Well, we're going to throw this. Keep with the NFL. We're going to throw it to early off season. Today, Frank Reich. I'm sorry. Super Bowl champion Frank Reich. The man that led Maryland to the largest college football comeback of all time. The man that led the Buffalo Bills to the second largest NFL playoff comeback ever is now the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. We talked about this off air. Number one, Frank Reich played in 95 with the Panthers. But here's my thing. Steve Wilks. We knew Steve Wilks was not coming back in Carolina. We knew that. Not a problem. Frank Reich taking his job. The first thing I said is go get him a quarterback. Because that was his problem his last 2 years in Indianapolis. He didn't have a quarterback at all. So get him a quarterback. What do you think about this signing?
Am I good now? Or am I still distorted?
Audio's good. Visual, not so much.
Or
You're
you're
kind of
not
lagging a
hearing me
little bit
at
on the visual. Can you hear me?
Okay, sorry, man. We good. Thumbs up.
All right.
So with this, I don't think Frank Wright has an option on finding a quarterback. David Tepper was a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan. He's only known quarterbacks, Ben Roethlisberger, Bradshaw, and those guys. So I think that's always been his MO. So I don't see like this is a situation where Carson Wentz does a redemption tour. They're going to draft a quarterback. And I think it's going to be, if CJ Stroud is there, it's going to be Stroud or Levis. One of those two will be the quarterback or be the guy that carries Carolina into 2023. There's no worries about them trying to find a quarterback because they're going to try to find a quarterback. They're going to find that option no matter what. Go ahead. What you got?
Here's my thing. I'm not going to knock Frank Reich for anything. I'm not going, because I love Frank Reich. I said that, him as an offensive coordinator was going to show how much Doug Peterson had going on in Philly to win that championship, because Frank Reich had a lot to go with that. And what's crazy, Frank Reich didn't get much credit, but he did a lot of things. His first season in Indianapolis, he was 10-6. Made it to the divisional game where they lost to Kansas City. He missed the playoffs second season. Third season, 11-5. Lost to Buffalo in a wild card game. And then 9-8 in 2021. 3-5-1 in 2022 before he was fired. No knock on.
4 different quarterbacks.
Yes. 4 years, 4 different quarterbacks. And granted, I wanted to see Steve Wilks get another shot, just like I wanted to see Anthony Lynn get another shot at head coach. But I wouldn't want to see Steve Wilks in Carolina. I don't want to see Steve Wilks or Anthony Lynn in Houston. I don't want to see them any place like that, because it's always the bottom of the barrel. Like, you got to get to the bottom of the barrel, and then you scrape and you scrape and you scrape and you scrape and you scrape, and then you scrape some more and scrape some more. Then all of a sudden they say, okay, yeah, now you take that team. I don't want that. I'm not saying, give them a ready-made team and then they go and then win, because then all of a sudden now they're in the John Gruden era where, well, that's not really a championship because the previous coach put that together. Like John Gruden's only championship in 2002. Most people say, oh, he's a genius. No, he just took what Tony Dungy had already had and you added a little offense to it. That's it. Sorry. But his whole legacy is built off of that.
That's an off-season topic. I'll explain later. That's an all-season topic.
Okay. But Frank Reich to Carolina, looking at this team, they need help. they need help. Let's just say that. They finished what did they finish? 7-10, which is not bad.
No, they made a late run by running the ball down everybody's throat towards the end of the season.
Exactly. And that's not bad. Right now, you can't win with Sam Darnold. He has to go. PJ Walker maybe can be groomed.
No,
Uh,
PJ Walker has to go. Sam Darnold's the backup.
I don't want Sam Darnold. Period.
Well, they're gonna have to keep somebody that's going to be around and teach the kid the system per se, or lack of a better term. And then you also need somebody that's going to fill in for you 2 or 3 games that's going to be solid. I don't know what the love affair you have with PJ Walker is, but he's just not it.
Underdog.
He's just not a guy.
Underdog.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm weird at times, but I just don't see it with him.
I get it.
Like, I haven't seen him. I mean, he did make that one throw against Atlanta where they won the game late, but I saw the other throws that built up to that, and it was just like, yeah, no, thank you.
I get it. I get it all the way. But he has to do something. He Frank Wright.
Oh, he will do something.
Yeah, he has to put together a vicious. His staff is gonna be pretty good, but he's gonna have to put some players on the field. Oh shoot, he does have Matt Corral.
Yeah, but that's not their quarterback. So if anything, Matt Corral is going to be around just to fight for a job. But since this regime really didn't select him, it depends on the GM, to be honest with you, because I don't think the GM was expecting much from Corral. So I think Corral would just go into the shuffle with the kid they draft at number. I think they draft 8th. So whoever they pick up is going to be they're going to fight it out maybe, but he will be the leader in the clubhouse to finish the season as the QB1.
Bro, they had Kevin Gilbride as their Kevin Gilbride. No, that's no, that's not that Kevin Gilbride. No. That's his son. Okay. Well, I say, wait, they had Kevin Gilbride as tight ends coach. I didn't know he was still in the league, but that's his son. Okay. But
it's amazing how the names stay the same.
Yeah.
Add Junior, the third, or whatever to him.
Yeah.
Or they marry somebody's daughter, and next thing you know.
Hey, guess what? You got a job. You get a job. That's the way it is. Moving on from this. You asked a question in our chat, and I said I wasn't going to answer until we got here. We're here. Your question was, do the Commanders have to sign Payne? That's investing $36 million a year in D tackles. I didn't answer. The boss BJ say I wouldn't. I refused to answer. I saw it and I refused to answer because I thought content.
Here you go. It's catching on. Anything becomes content. ABCs of the sideline junkies, baby.
Here's the thing. Looking at this roster, and we just gonna do defensive lineman for Washington because we when we get into O-line, off season we'll get into everything else. You got Jonathan Allen locked up. As of right now, you have Chase Young locked up because he's still in his rookie deal. So you still need Montez Sweat your other end. You running a 4-3. Why not put the money into Deron Payne to keep the family together? And all of course you're gonna have guys rotating in and out. You're gonna have your John Ridgeways, your James Smith Williams, Shaka Tonys, and Casey Two Hills. Those guys all played a major part in this season. That rotation of D linemen. At one point in time, we were like 7 to 9 deep on that D line of the rotation, and everybody could play ball. Everybody did something different. Now, I think where our rotation is maybe about 6 to 7, but I don't see. I can't figure out a reason if we can make this contract as team friendly as possible. Incentive laden to his stats, so all he got to do is get paid his bonus money, and he gets paid. I don't give a damn. Just work the deal.
You haven't heard him? He says, "I want to get paid. I want the big money." He's not.
Yeah, everybody says that.
He's not taking an incentive laden deal. He doesn't want to be the fifth, sixth, seventh highest paid defensive tackle in this league. He's trying to be number one or number two. Like he wants to be slotted right behind Aaron. If he's not in front of Aaron Donald, he wants to be right behind Aaron Donald because he wants the big money. So you can't like when I hear him talk, I automatically jump to the San Francisco model of this, who's done this before. San Francisco had Buckner and Eric Armstead as their tackles, and they had to let one go. They traded one to Indianapolis, and with the pick they got from Indianapolis, they turned around and drafted Jared Kinlaw. And the only reason Kinlaw really hasn't been as effective as you wanted because he's been hurt. But it's part of the process. Like, I think this franchise at times gets caught up in who they let go. And then, like, the guy, like, I'll never forget the one year, like, Alfred Morris, we let Alf go, and he went and had, like, 100 yards actually against us when he was playing for Dallas. And everybody was like, oh, see, we should have let him go. Dog, the sun shines on the monkey's ass every now and then. Like, you just can't get caught up in that. Like, you got to be better than some of the stuff you have. Like, you got to take steps forward. Like, the problem with Alf was he just wasn't explosive enough. And you got to have, in this league, you can't always go 11 plays. You got to get that 30, 40-yard run or that 40-yard pass to make things work.
Remind me to tell you that story about the video that I went off about a video, because it's funny you say that. I'll tell you that story. I don't know if it'll be on air. I think it'll be off air. I think I did tell you that about the dude in the video game. Oh Lord, remind me to tell you that one, because it goes to what you just said, and I'm like, yeah, no. But if Deron Payne wants to be the highest paid defensive tackle in the league, Aaron Donald's at 31.6 million, right? The second highest paid defensive tackle in the league, DeForest Buckner, and that's at 21 million flat. Chris Jones is at 3 with 20 million. Jonathan Allen 4 at 18 million. You're not.
So that's where he wants to be in that window.
Okay, here's the thing.
He wants to be in that 18 and 21 window.
And here's the thing. You're not going to get more than Allen. That's not going to happen. As much as I love these guys,
he's not going to sign.
Then guess what? You put a transition tag on him,
going to
go from there.
You don't use a transition tag. You got a franchise tag him.
See, if we franchise tag
has to mean
franchise tag is the average of the top 3, correct?
Top 5, I think it is.
It's top 5 now? I thought it was top 3.
I always thought it was top 5, but I could be wrong.
Okay, hold on. Let me NFL franchise tag, which I think is a fucking joke. I've always thought the franchise tag is a joke because you're holding teams over a barrel. Franchise player. What is the franchise tag?
But see, the key with it is the franchise tag was really meant for you to be able to keep your star, not just every time Dick and Harry. Not every time Dick and Harry that comes on the team and their contract is up.
Right.
You know, like the world's kind of gotten out of spectrum because for some reason you just pay any quarterback and every quarterback goes to the front of the line. That's one spot that doesn't have a modicum of justice in its contract process. It's just, all right, you're a free agent quarterback. You get to the front of the line. You sign for whatever 2 pennies more than the last guy signed for, and it just keeps escalating. Because Burrow and are going to change the whole world in the next couple of months. So,
well, hell, didn't
Lamar not waiting for
the whole world?
I just hope Lamar Jackson signs before Burrow and Herbert. Because if he don't, he's going to be in trouble. He might be finding himself on a franchise tag, and then they say hit the road, Jack, or they make some kind of move. Because Baltimore ain't scared of watching people walk.
No, they never have been.
Taking the picks from it and rebuilding their franchise.
Now, you were right. Top 5. So that's Aaron Donald, DeForest Buckner, Chris Jones, Jonathan Allen, V to V. the average of their top 5 salaries. Now, for those who don't understand averages, you add up their salaries, then you divide it by 5. Roundabout figure, $21.4 million.
All right, so think about him in this situation. This is the discussion I used to have people when we talked about Kirk. So he already knows, and he knows you're not going to let him go without compensation, right?
Right.
We can agree on that.
And we can definitely agree, because it'd be stupid if you did.
So 21.2 essentially becomes his starting point. Because that's the worst I can do. The worst I can do is walk away with 21.2. So now you gotta bargain with me with 21.2 being the floor, and no telling what the ceiling is, because now we gotta agree on a number. So that's why I say, like, this isn't something easy, and that's why I don't want to. Because now we're talking about $40 million now at D tackle, and just on a roster building section, you got Ridgeway, you got Mathis. Like, are you really trying to invest $40 million at tackle? Now maybe you don't get the same production, but if you make your middle linebacker better by signing somebody else, maybe that helps you out. Maybe you get better in the aggregate instead of being better at the initial point. And that's the part I worry about. Like, I think this team should go ahead and move him for whatever you can get. I saw somebody's dream trade of trading Payne for Justin Fields, because Ryan Poles, the Chicago GM, didn't draft Fields. So maybe that's the option. So it's going to be interesting to see what plays out and what the options are for the Commanders when it comes to this.
Here's the thing, and this is with an exclusive franchise tag. You can give him the average of the top 5 players' salaries at his position based on April of the current year, or 120% of the player's previous year's salary, whichever is greater. He's going to get the top 5, because 120% of his career of his salary last year is $10,234,800. Yeah, that's if they gave my exclusive one. It's so many working parts to this, and I'm like, yeah, if he wants that much money, you might have to let him walk, or you work out a sign and trade, something. Scratch my back, I scratch your back.
Essentially, it becomes him. You telling his agent, if you can find a deal and they'll pay you long term, we'll work with that and we'll make you happy, because you just can't do. Because once you get to year 2 of a franchise tag, it becomes even worse, because now that franchise number jumps up even more, because it's like 100% of the year before's tag, which is where they got in trouble with Kirk. So It's just like you find yourself in dead man's land when you do that. So the key kicker would be doing it this year, but making the move with him this year. And maybe you pick up a kid like a Brian Brees, or you get somebody late in the draft that's just a solid DT, and you move on. Because then you got to make the same decision at DN in another year.
Here's the thing, and this is.
And I know you say I like to get rid of people, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, but here's my thing. When we were going through this with Kirk, anybody that knows me, and my man Kiefer from the block will tell you this, I was like, let him fucking walk, because I don't want to keep paying you. What was he getting? He was getting 20 with the franchise tags. He was getting 20 million.
Yeah.
And I mean, you weren't They weren't putting anything around him for him to be successful, but he was still successful. Let's get that straight. Because he didn't have top tier receivers, but he still threw for 4,000 yards every year. Right. Every year.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, I didn't want to pay Kirk. He wanted 20 million a season. I didn't want to pay him 20 million. I was like, no. See, think about this. Take this 16 and a half, this 17, and run with that while we build around you. We got to draft and we got to build around you, because when we were finishing 8-8 and 7-9, that puts us in the middle of the pack of the draft. Either you're going to suck and we can be in the top 10, or we're going to win and we'll be in the bottom 25 through 32. But being in the middle, that I'll say 12 to 24 ain't much talent that you're gonna get in that. We got some talent, a couple of guys, but when we're up top, we can get a game-changing guy. And a couple of those drafts, we could have used a game-changing receiver with Kirk. I think we would have been way better.
They made the wrong choice on Doxson because that's what they were trying to do that year.
Yeah.
And then you gotta look at the history of their second round picks. It's like Sewell Cravens, Trent Murphy.
Wait, hold on. Stop it.
I think David Emerson's in that group. Like,
I get that.
Just don't get quality production.
There will be no Trent Murphy slander in this house. Not in this dojo.
He was trash.
Not in this dojo.
You playing a 3-4. Man. All right, well, maybe I got to go to Cobra Kai or something. You can't tell. I mean, like, God damn. This dude is. I just didn't understand their team building process and that part of it. Because you can't have two guys that are 6'2", 6'3", and slaw-footed. I mean, I love Kerrigan, but Kerrigan isn't explosive. And Trent wasn't explosive. You can't do that. Like that's just dumb.
That when you
and then
say
you
that,
go
that's
with
what I think.
what you call it? Marcus Fizer, Iowa State, right? Okay.
His feet was like this.
But
when he walked, his feet was right there. He flew foot, yeah.
Even Preston Smith, like you got. All right, I'm gonna say this because I always say this, and this is gonna be the Ben staple of this show. We got to get a type. I always say this. If I talk about draft, I talk about players. You got to develop a type. And the second you get a type, it makes it easier for fans to figure out who you're going to draft. And it also makes it easier to see what you're building your team around. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. The Kirk situation, I could go on for days, but I used to get tired because jokers were like, yeah, I can sign Kirk. I say we throw Kirk $13 million. I'm like, you just signed him to a franchise tag for 16. Who taking 13?
Yeah, if you just gave me 16.
Huh?
If you just gave me 16, I'm not taking 13.
Right. Like I used to get frustrated listening to the radio because it was like jokers was like, yeah, I think Kirk could get 10 a year. You just signed him for 16. You can't give him 10. Like I used to think that people just didn't think about it logically. Like if your job giving you $19.75 an hour, but they'll sign you for 3 years at $16.50, you ain't taking that damn $16.50.
You walking.
You walk. You just risking it. You gonna see how long you stay at $19.75. But I digress, and let's get to what's next, man.
I say we go ahead and touch it. Let's just touch it. Another question you asked: will black coaches get shut out of this round of hiring?
Yes,
I think it's already obvious.
I think part of it, but it's twofold. So part of it is the places that are available. So you have Wright taking the Carolina job. So it's Houston, which I don't know if you're a young black coach. I don't see you wanting to touch Houston because you need Houston to show you that they're dedicated to a coach more than 1 year.
Yeah, and what have they done to the last two black coaches?
Right, Denver, and I think the issue with Denver is Denver doesn't know. With their new ownership, I don't know what their direction is in terms of, well, you're going to be stuck with Russell for the next 3 years. So, like, you got to make that. Yeah, you got to make that work. Who's the other? Who am I missing? It's another bad franchise that's looking for a coach right now. They're like all the undesirable jobs.
Yeah. Ain't they? And it's just like Vegas? No, Vegas got McDaniels.
No, Vegas got McDaniels, which isn't saying much because he's just like not having a coach. Houston, Denver, and I know somebody that's watching is like yelling at the screen because they know who the other two teams are.
Type it in the message box.
Yeah, type it in the thing. Who the other teams are looking for head coaches this offseason. But I heard the guys go through it, and it's just like they're not the best jobs in the world, and I think that's going to be the hesitation. And I think the only way a black coach gets hired in this group is if they've exhausted all the other options and nobody just wants it. And it's kind of like here you go, take this job and enjoy it. Do the best you can with it. I can't really promise you much, but if you don't mind getting blown out and getting paid like the last 2 years or last 3 years of your deal, then so be it. But that's kind of where I see this playing out. We'll see how this is looking right now. I mean, it's just one of those situations where it's just not working. So Indianapolis is 3. And I just don't see Indianapolis walking away from Saturday. I think Irsay will find a reason to hire back Jeff Saturday.
You know what Irsay gonna do?
Denver's for Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona too. You know what Irsay gonna do out in Indy? Whenever they go through coaching changes, they always used to hire Ted Marchibroda. He's going to get a Ouija board and he's going to conjure up Ted Marchibroda and hire the ghost of Ted Marchibroda to coach the damn Indianapolis Colts. And here's my thing. I guarantee you Ted Marchibroda still go 11-6 because he's just that damn good, even from beyond the grave.
All right.
I don't know. I'm a Marchibroda guy. I've always been a fan of him. I was a fan of him in Indy, and then knowing what I know about his connection to Baltimore, and then him being the coach of the Ravens. Oh man, that's forever a fan of Ted Marchibroda. Rest in peace.
So, but I just think, those are like 5 of the worst scenarios for a young coach to walk into. I mean, Arizona, you don't have Kyler this year, so are they going to give you a quarterback, or are you going into the season with Colt McCoy and the kid from Penn State as your quarterbacks?
I'm going to get Cam Newton.
Say what?
I'm going to get Cam Newton.
Okay, that won't happen, but okay.
I said what I'm going to do.
No. I understood what you said. I'm just telling you what ain't going to happen.
Well, I mean, hell, do you want to win ball games, or you worried about what everybody else think? Same thing. I tell. Never mind. Let me just
see. You going on philosophies. You're asking me to act out what I would do, but I'm telling you what they gonna do.
Oh, we know what they gonna do.
So what they gonna do is they not gonna worry about Cam, because Cam just it's not a thing for Cam.
You know what they gonna do? They're gonna go get Baker Mayfield. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna get Big Bait.
Maybe. I mean, Nathan Peterman out here still getting looks. So
Nathan Peterman gonna be the backup. What you mean?
So, but I'm just saying, like, those are situations where, a team's not gonna really invest because you already paid Kyler. So you just gotta figure out what you're gonna do, and then that puts that coach in limbo for that 1 year, because you don't know how soon Kyler comes back. Does he come back by week 6? You pup him, get him back mid-season. Like, those are questions that if you're taking over Arizona, you have to ask. Then you have to ask what direction we're going, because you don't have a GM. And Arizona's been probably one of the more poorly run franchises the last 3 years.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, we got more early off-season stuff to talk about. We can't talk about it all tonight. So we're going to switch gears, jump over to the NBA right quick. All-star starters have been announced. LeBron James is the West captain. Well, he's a captain. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the other captain. LeBron is 5-0 and has been every time he's been captain and has never lost. From the East, you got Giannis, KD, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, and Kyrie Irving. I'm glad to see Kyrie Irving as a starter. I was hoping that he was going to be a starter. I made sure I voted for him a couple of times. From the West, you got LeBron James, Jokic, Zion Williamson, Steph Curry, and Luka Doncic. Of course, coaches got to pick the reserves. You got any problems with anybody on these two teams as starters?
I understand Zion, but I think there's some guy on the West playing a little bit better than Zion right now. Plus, he's been healthier the whole time. That's the only thing I don't like about the All-Stars is like you let a guy sit out for 20 games of the season, and then all of a sudden he's still in the All-Star mix. Kind of like Aaron Donald being like the starting defensive tackle in the Pro Bowl or whatever it's called. Like the guy didn't play half the year, so let's stop giving people awards just because you like them, and you think they're the best player, and I get that, but like it's got to make sense. Make it make sense. If we're rewarding guys for playing this season, like let's stop the popularity contest and let's be real about it. But I mean, Zion probably got the box, filled up because fans want to see him. And I don't blame that, but it's also like let's reward the guys that deserve it as much as possible. That's always been my gripe with the All-Star game.
But you do know that NBA All-Star game, the Pro Bowl, it's nothing but a popularity contest. You know
exactly.
It's nothing but a fucking popularity contest. And I guess we got to be okay with that, but that's all it is. It is what it is because it is what it's going to be. It's nothing but a popularity contest anyway because the starters are voted on by the fans. So, next up, this is the Midnight Rider. I'm going to sit back and ride this wave. Baseball Hall of Fame. I'm going to put my mic.
Can we change that?
What you want to change it to?
No. So it's the Baseball Hall of Pretty Good. That's what we're going to change the name of it to.
Okay.
It's not the Hall of Fame anymore. We're not taking great players to be in this Hall of Fame because the baseball writers are such sanctimonious assholes that they cannot separate their head from their asshole to figure out the truth. And the truth is, you sat around and watched this process and watched this happen. You sat around and acted like, oh, nothing's going on. Nothing is nothing to see here. You literally had Barry Bonds come to you and be like, oh, okay, are they going to let these guys just get bigger and faster and stronger and not test everybody? So I got to just sit here and do this? Like, this is crazy to me that baseball is stuck their nose so high up that they rather put a bunch of guys that would never, ever smell the Hall of Fame into the Hall of Fame just because they want to be petty and act like, oh, steroids was this miserable thing. When all of them got their pockets fat off the steroids. They wrote more articles about guys that were on steroids than guys that weren't on steroids. They even let freaking David Ortiz in the Hall of Fame last year. And this guy tested positive back in, this is the most disgusting, reviling thing I've ever watched a sports organization do. They have decided to destroy their Hall of Fame just because of their egos and because their egos aren't being stroked. So now they want to come back and act like they're gatekeepers. Like, I just don't get this. Like, it's like you're destroying something that you put all this pride in. Like, you didn't vote in Babe Ruth and Cal Ripken as first ballot perfect all-stars because if this person didn't go in with 100% of the vote, nobody can go in. But now you're going to let Scott fucking Rowland go into the Hall of Fame? You're talking about Scott Rowland. Like, he might have had 2 good years as a third baseman. Yes, he's probably one of the best defensive third basemen ever. But I swear to God, if we pull his numbers up, his numbers don't scream Hall of Fame. His numbers scream Hall of Good. And then next year, I mean, even though he's my dog, but you're going to let Adrian Beltre in. You're going to let a bunch of guys in that Beltre should be in. Let me change that. But he should be a guy that doesn't get in first ballot. He should be a third or fourth ballot guy. But it's just the notion that this sport would rather stick his nose up and turn his back on the best talent in the league and say, oh, you can't be a Hall of Famer because you use steroids. Figure the shit out. You allowed the shit, So deal with the shit. This is like if you ever cheated on a girl, this is exactly what it is. And you said, well, baby, I was just fucking them. I make love to you. That's what this is the equivalent of. Is Major League Baseball writers are saying, telling all the fans, yeah, we just fucking you, but we make love to the person that's special to us. So, like, this is the most agenda-based bullshit I've ever heard in my life. I don't understand it. I don't get it. It's like because they didn't kiss your ass, now all of a sudden you want to act like you got standards. You don't have them. You sold your standards the day you interviewed Mark McGwire, and he had Androstein in his locker on the shelf, and then you told him it was Andro, and he was like, oh, okay, and you still cool with it. You never went back to his locker open again because you didn't want to see the truth. Like, baseball writers can't handle the truth. And the truth is you laid in bed for this shit for 10 years, you prospered off of it, and now you want to act like all of a sudden it's a fucking problem. And I don't care that they can kiss my ass. Baseball player, the Writers Association can eat a dick. I don't care. This is the worst shit I've ever seen. Scott Rowland. I can't even form my lips to say that right. I don't even think Scott Rowland's got an MVP. He might have a World Series MVP or something that I don't know about. He might not even been the best player on the Phillies team. This is oh my God. Okay. Like, I'm running out of words to say and things to say about this because it doesn't make fucking sense to me that Scott freaking Rowland is in the Hall of Fame. And there's no offense to Scott. None at all. It's not a personal attack. It's the fact that we're allowing this because when I say we, I'm talking about baseball writers, have allowed this situation to get out of hand and not take care of it the proper way. If anybody ever comes up to you and tells you, if you're an alien on this planet, and they say, oh, Scott Rowland is in the Hall of Fame, but Barry Bonds isn't. What? It don't make sense. The math ain't mathing, KG. The math ain't mathing.
Oh, okay. I'm not even gonna reel you in, but I'm gonna pull in I'm gonna pull out the cattle prod and I'm gonna poke the bear.
No, we're not doing this.
Yeah, yes, I am. Scott Rowland. His WAR is 70.1. He had 7,398 at bats, 2,077 hits, 316 home runs.
Go back. You just said the magic number. He has how many hits?
2,077. He doesn't even 3,000 hits and or 500 home runs, automatic Hall of Fame.
Automatic. He got 2,000 hits, KG.
2,000 hits. That's like a running back that has 10,000 yards. That's automatically Hall of Fame.
KG. He got 2,077 hits.
2,077 hits. Hold on. His batting average.
He probably doesn't even have 400 home runs.
No, 316.
What we doing here, KG? What were you batting average? Are we giving out participation trophies?
Yes.
That's what I feel like we're doing.
Yes. His batting average.
Said, oh, we can't take the elite guys anymore because when they did steroids and we watched them, but they're not going to say about the part where they watched this happen. When you watch Ivan Rodriguez come into camp looking like a damn linebacker, you like, oh, well, he must have hit the weights hard this all season. Yeah, he hit the weights hard and he might have stuck a thing in his butt every now and then to get a little extra push. But come on, and I don't even want to mess with guys' names in that way by saying this, but there's some proof in the pudding. There's some things that happen that you got to ask questions about. Ivan Rodriguez coming in looking like 235, and then the second you said testing, he drops down to like 185 like it's nobody's problem. If he was black, if he came around his family and he was black, they'd be like, you on that booger sugar, baby? What you doing? You smoking the crack?
You on that stuff?
From 225 to 180 like that.
Woo-hoo. Well, hold on. His batting average is 281. 1,211 runs. 1,287 RBIs, 118 stolen bases. On base percentage is 364. Slugging percentage is 490. OPS is 855.
since you were looking at player stats, I'm gonna pull a name because if Scott Rowland's a Hall of Famer, then Chase Utley got to be a Hall of Famer.
All right,
My God, Chase Utley at least made plays in the playoffs.
Chase Utley and Scott Rowland is a MVP. I'm sorry, Rookie of the Year, and he has a Silver Slugger. Chase Utley,
ooh, Silver Slugger. Ooh.
Chase Utley, 6-time All-Star, 2008 World Series champion, 4-time Silver Slugger award.
Boom, he already up them there. 4 is greater than 1.
His WAR is 64.5. He had 6,000. He had 6,857 at bats. Only 1,885 hits. 259.
If you got a guy with 2,077, why can't we let the 1,800 guy in? He got 4 Silver Sluggers.
He's not in. Chase Utley is not in.
How many home runs he hit?
Chase Utley only has 259.
Who cares? We let a guy with 318 in. It doesn't matter anymore. Like the place that numbers was the when numbers is the spectrum and the thing that you always talk about. You say it's the milestones. It's 3,000 hits. You got a guy with barely 2,000 hits in the Hall of Fame. You say it's 500 home runs. You got a guy with barely 300 home runs in the Hall of Fame. What are we doing here, people? The math ain't mathing. That's all I'm saying. And if you want to be on your soapbox, well, be on your soapbox and actually make some complaints. Like, you can't just say, oh, well, he's allegedly a steroid user, or we know he's there's so many people I could say, oh, there's a chance that he was on steroids, but because you didn't test and we didn't push it, and I'll give props to Donald Fair, because Donald Fair or Fur or whatever his name is was the smartest player rep, because he made sure he didn't let that get in their hands until later on. And I think he stepped down before you even got the bullshit testing where it was supposed to be anonymous, but everybody put their name on the vials and the vials got leaked out. And that's how we knew David Ortiz did the shit.
Okay, let me throw this at you.
You can't throw nothing at me. I can't. There's nothing here. I think the gerbil just got off the. One monkey don't make the show. Here we go. But I'm just gonna say this: it's just no way that Scott Rowland goes into this Hall of Fame before anybody else does. And I don't know how they fixed their votes, how they did this to make that happen.
Here we go. I'm back.
Wow, you good, man.
My power blink, everything went out. Now I'm gonna throw this at you. 7-time MVP, 14-time All-Star, home run derby champ, 8-time Gold Glover, 12-time Silver Slugger, 2 batting titles, 3 Major League Player of the Year awards, 9,847 at bats, 2,935 hits. Batting average is 298, 2,227 runs, 1996 in RBIs, 514 stolen bases. Has the most home runs in Major League Baseball. Has the most walks in Major League Baseball. Has the most intentional walks in Major League Baseball, all in history, and is not in the Hall of Fame.
KG.
I have a problem with that.
KG.
Yes, sir.
Here's how asinine Major League Baseball is. The greatest home run hitter and the greatest hitter in the game are the 2 people that are essentially banned or exiled from their Hall of Fame. You're banning Pete Rose because he bet on some games where now all of a sudden, if you're going to start walking in the stadiums and gambling's going to be legal. Now I get, keeping the game, the sanctity of the game precious. I get that, but we're 40, 50 years removed from his situation. Like at some point, you got to forgive some of this stuff. I mean, goodness gracious, it's just ridiculous that it's the only Hall of Fame with the 2 greatest players of the sport aren't in the Hall of Fame.
Say it again.
Can you imagine a Hall of Fame where like Kobe and Mike aren't in the Hall of Fame, or Kobe and LeBron aren't in the Hall of Fame, for whatever sanctimonious reasons you want to put out there. Imagine Joe Montana and Dan Marino not being in your Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, the NFL hasn't even kicked OJ out the Hall of Fame for what OJ allegedly did. But it's like they're supposed to be caretakers of history. And what they've done is bastardize the history of the sport by not allowing the best players to be in the Hall of Fame because you want to do guesswork. You want to play Blues Clues. You want to be Dora the Explorer. You want to chase down all this shit. You want to find out where in the world is Carmen Sandiego instead of actually doing something that makes sense and putting the best players in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is for the best players. We have this argument all the time, KG. Me, you, and BJ, we talk about guys being first ballot, second ballot, guys being worthy. In this situation, nobody was worthy. If you're going to keep judging on this criteria, Scott Rowland ain't worthy. Scott Rowland ain't it. Because I know I never said, oh, Scott Rowland is one of the best players ever in MLB. Never said it. I might say he might be one of the best defensive players, but the best player? Nah, dog. It's a no for me, dog.
Well, you might as well go ahead and get ready for Scott Brocious, Chuck Knobloch.
KG? KG?
Yeah.
I will do an hour if Scott Brocious and Chuck Knobloch, who couldn't throw the ball to second base to save his life. He literally had to roll the ball to second to throw somebody. Yeah, okay, KG. Don't wish that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't wish that evil on me.
Like my man Bernie Williams, model of consistency. If Scott Rowland get in, Bernie Williams should be in.
KG, we're not doing this.
Paul O'Neill.
KG, we're not doing this.
I can name some names now.
You can name all the names you want, but this is called the Hall of Fame. It's just supposed to be the place where the best of the best go. And that's the problem I have with this. It's not the best of the best if you're not holding them to a standard or you're adjusting the standard for your casual bullshit reasons.
This is why you have to take Hall of Fame voting out of the writers' hands. This is the same thing I said, and I stand on this soapbox. When it came down to Hall of Fame, and Art Monk wasn't the first ballot Hall of Famer, but Jerry Rice was, and Jerry Rice broke all of Art Monk's records. That was a problem. Certain guys not getting in because T.O. not being first ballot, that's a problem. He should have been first ballot because of what he did. He had the numbers, he had everything, but because he was a thorn in the media's side, same thing with a lot of guys in MLB, because they didn't talk to the media like that, or the media didn't like them. They weren't media darlings. This is why you got to take it out of the writer's hands. I think, and the boss BJ has said this before, and I agree with it 1,000%. You take your living members of the Hall of Fame. They vote who's the next one to come in.
No.
You wouldn't do that?
No. Because I don't trust, as much as I love the guys that played this game, I don't think they watched the game enough to be the voters for the Hall of Fame. And maybe the middle ground is you get a panel of them with a panel of reporters, but it can't be one or the other, because you'll either get the popularity contest like we get for the Pro Bowl and get guys getting in, or you'll get what we've been getting now. And I think the happy median is getting a little bit of both in place. But I don't trust the guys that played this, just because I think they'll have some selfish moments and let some guys in that they like. And I that's the only reason I don't want that possibility. And also, like, I watched the coaches vote in college basketball or college football for like the top 25. And if you look at some of the ballots, you would cringe and try to figure out what the hell was going on, because it's not public. They're not held to a standard. They're not held to a place of being responsible for what's going to happen. So I feel like the same thing will happen with the players and the writers. We already see it happening. So I just think there's a place of bias that's going to happen in this process. And I don't know what the perfect answer is to this. And I don't think we'll ever get to the perfect answer. But I definitely don't want to be just the players.
Okay. I'm you know what? I was gonna have a rebuttal. I ain't even got no rebuttal. I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna leave it right there because it's time to go home. We got one more segment, and
I told you I wasn't worried about you us on the time thing.
Yeah, because look, I wanted you to go, and you did. So, last but not least, today marks 3 years since the helicopter accident that claimed the Mamba, his daughter, the pilot, and 7 others. Oh man, it don't even seem like it's been 3 years. Let's just say that it does not seem like it's been 3 years, and I'm not even gonna get into it because I already know what road we going down. So hopefully everybody has been living Mamba mentality for the last 3 years. Full bore. Don't let nothing stop you. But yeah, it's been 3 years. I thought I was gonna be able to get through that, but I'm not. I'm not even gonna attempt to.
I love the Mamba mentality. I love the language. I love the thought process of it. I just like, and I don't mean this to be insensitive, but we got to watch who we allow say that. Like I just can't have like some guy just off the bench and he hit a J. He's like Mamba mentality, but is it really Mamba mentality? Because the Mamba mentality is special. It's waking up at 5 a.m. to go work out and then taking a break at 9 and then turning around and going back to the gym at 11, 12 o'clock to work out some more. And then it's going to grab a dinner and then going back and working on some more. Like I feel like sometimes people are a little too casual with the Mamba mentality because like it's a thing. It's something to say, but like that's not it. It's a lifestyle. Like I've watched so many interviews, listen to Kobe, listen to people talk about Kobe. One of my favorite moments is the Pau Gasol Dream Team, where he's like, "Look, first play, I already know what they're gonna do. I'm gonna run through his chest." Like that's Mamba mentality. I don't care who you are. If you wear the other team's jersey, I'm treating you like you belong to the other team. We can be teammates 2 months from now when we in La Jolla or San Diego and we getting ready for the season. But for these next this next hour or 2 hours, you are the enemy. That's the mentality. Like I don't want, like I feel like sometimes we did get too casual with something special. And like Mamba mentality is something special. You know what I'm saying? It's that trophy that sits up on the shelf and you dust it off, you make sure it's nice and pretty, and it sits there. It's not something that you always pass around. Like you just pass it around every day, every week, and it's like some trophy that everybody gets. It's not like that. Like Mamba mentality is special. Like it literally took me, I think it took me 6 months to get all the way through Muse without like breaking down or just stopping because my allergies were acting up. And Cole, for me, if I gotta be real as a fan, like we had a labor of love. Like I had to figure out when I was gonna like him. Because he was the hotshot kid coming in. He was a little cocky and arrogant. But I think when he took those 2 shots in Utah, at the moment, I was cussing at the TV trying to figure out why he kept shooting the ball. But then I realized that he was the only guy with the heart and mentality to take those shots in the moment, even after he failed. And he was not scared to fail. And then we got to Portland and the infamous oop to Shaq, and then like that sealed it. And I don't think I doubted him after that at all. Like he's probably, and it's not even probably, he is my second favorite basketball player. It's Magic and then it's Kobe.
I'm gonna say this. Anybody that has known me for years, my brother-in-law will tell you, when Kobe came into the league, I was a huge fan because, you know, he was leaving high school as I was starting. His senior year was my freshman year, you know.
See,
And
that's feeling old.
then the crazy part about it, I made him on Live 96 because he wasn't on Live 96. So I made him on Live 96. And I would play with the Lakers just to play with him. And I was a fan of his because he was a high school kid. You know, I hadn't, you know, year before we had Kevin Garnett. Then the year after that, you got Kobe coming out. Okay. Now we got high school players coming out that can actually ball. And I pulled for those Lakers, and I argue back and forth with you all the time about those Lakers of the 90s with Eddie Jones, Kobe, and Nick Van Exel, and Eldon Campbell, and Shaq, and everything. We talk about that all the time. Those were some of my favorite Lakers squads because of how they were constructed.
I'm not going to, out of respect for you in this day, I will not besmirch the name of Eddie Jones for you.
It was coaching. And I always said if Dale Harris was any other coach other than Dale Harris, they would have got over the hump long before Phil came. But, and then also think about this.
Huh? You know what? There's truth in that. But then there's also, I think you missed the statement I said earlier about the dog part. And I struggle watching a 19-year-old being the guy in the moment, being willing to take the shot that the so-called stars wouldn't take. That was the hard part for me. And that's when, and honestly, I'll tell you, like, that was the moment where everything changed for me. Like, I was like, nah, I can't, there's no point. And there's other reasons, and we'll get into that content on other shows when you have your confrontation with me. But yeah, it's just like, and the other thing I think about Kobe, like, you just don't even, like, everybody thought he was cold-hearted, but he had these great relationships with AI. He had a great relationship with T-Mac. I think he and T-Mac may have been a year or two apart, and like they were like brothers off the court. So it wasn't that me against the world, but it was that switch. You know what I'm saying? Like us old conjures, we talk about, oh, you know, if my best friend's on the team and I gotta take him out, I'm taking him out. You know what I'm saying? That's our heyday. That's our thing. And he had that mentality. You know, him and KG had a thing, and I never forget. Like, there's so many stories. Like, I think my favorite story about Kobe, to be honest with you, man, is Amon Shumpert. And I'm gonna try to get through this. But Amon Shumpert, I think I know it's the game that we're in the midst of, like, Linsanity. And Amon Shumpert has guarded Kobe for 3 quarters. And he's had steals. He's gotten points on Kobe. But I never forget, he said in the story, he was like, they come out for the 4th quarter, and Kobe's like, good game, son. You really played well today. And Shumpert looking at him, looking at the scoreboard, like, we got a whole another quarter to play. And in that quarter, I think Kobe, like, comes down, does a shot, throws it off the backboard, gets the rebound, kicks it out to the wing to somebody for 3. He does like a 3 fake, shoulder shimmy, ends up with a fadeaway. And Shumpert looks at him like he looks at D'Antoni like, what's he on? Like, he was playing regular the whole game. Now you on some different shit. And the kicker was, he was like, yeah, Kobe came down and laced a 30-footer. And he looked at D'Antoni like, what you want me to do? He's like, that's not in the scouting report. So it's like moments like that when you see guys transcend time in the moment and become something special and spectacular in that moment is the key to greatness. And I think for me, like the 81-point night, the 62 points in 3 quarters against Dallas, like I got them all. I got all these moments I'm thinking about, and I'll never forget, because I think for me the solidifier was I don't have a bad relationship with my son's mother, but when she made sure she called me to make sure I was good, it made me know that she knew how much he meant to me. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody that, I mean, we do a good job co-parenting, so I'm not worried about that. But there are times when people know what hurts you and what's going to hurt you, and the fact that she took that moment out was special to me. If I felt like she understood me to that degree, and that's just one of those things where, like, even people's greatness transcends the relationships that we have with other people. Like Kobe is just like it's. I don't. Sometimes I lost words because the dude had 2 careers. He had 8 and he had 24. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you got a dude that's on trial for a case, and he's in the NBA Finals trying to get through it. It's just like, how do you have the mentality to be on trial, fighting for your life, and you still getting it? You still making sure. And then that's when the 24 came, and then like I'll never forget that finals with Boston. And I'm sorry if I'm going on and on, but there's a picture from the 2009 finals where it's like KG, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Rondo, and it's just Kobe in the middle of it. And like I know, like for me, I just know that was his. Like I don't care what you got, I got me. And when I think about it, and you might not remember this reference, but I'm gonna say the reference. But there's a scene in 300 where they're going to battle and they're on the trail, and when they come up the trail, it's Leonidas and the 300 soldiers they have, and then the other group that's meeting them, that's supposed to be going to fight with them. They were like, "You only brought 300 soldiers." And Leonidas looked at them and laughed. And Leonidas was like, "Sir, what do you do?" The dude was like, "I'm a farmer." He was like, "What do you do?" I'm a blacksmith or a bricklayer, blah, 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 blah. He was like, "Well, see, the difference is I brought 300 soldiers to this fight. You brought 300, you brought regular people with you." And that's how Kobe was. Like, Kobe was like, "Yeah, it could be you 4 guys, but I'm the dog. I brought me to this fight." And I hope I'm giving him all the props that like he deserves and all the flowers he deserves. But like when I see that guy, I see ultimate competitor. Like I see M and MJ as the guys that they don't care what else is going on around them. They don't care what you brought to the yard. I got me. I know what I put in this time. So yeah.
I'm gonna tell you this. Like I said, Kobe came out of high school, big fan. And when he threw that oop to Shaq against Portland, instantly couldn't stand him. On the court, I mean, off the court, of course. I love everybody off the court. On the court, couldn't stand him. Could not stand him. And I love Shaq. I couldn't stand Shaq either. I couldn't stand the Lakers doing that whole three-peat. That 4 years from 2000 to what? 2004. I couldn't stand the Lakers. Like I wanted the Lakers to lose every damn game.
That's a shame.
I don't like front runners.
We weren't front runners.
Y'all were the best team in the NBA, dude.
Well, no, a couple years because Shaq was hurt. We didn't play well.
You won 3 championships in a row. You were the best team in the NBA all 2001.
Things like that happen. So I mean, you get in the playoffs, you have great players, you have greatness around you.
No. Listen, 2001.
I mean, everybody got to walk the aisle. Sometimes Ric Flair says it best: to be the man, you got to beat the man.
I get that.
For 3 years, nobody was mad enough.
And see, the thing is, in 2001, I knew y'all were gonna run through Indiana. I knew that. Indiana was, if y'all would have met Indiana in 97 and 98, I don't think y'all would have beat them. But in 2000, y'all beat them because they was past their prime. 2001 with Philly, I thought Philly had a chance to beat y'all when they won game 1. That was the only game that the Lakers lost in the playoffs was game 1, right?
Hold on. You thought Philly with Eric Snow, Dikembe Mutombo.
When I tell you that Crypt Keeper, Tyrone Hill.
What's my guy from Aaron McKee?
Matt Geiger. Yeah, I thought all of that. When I tell you I could not stand the Lakers, I rooted against the Lakers every chance I got. Because it was a simple fact that you took my coach as a Bulls fan. You took my coach to go win.
Here's
I have a problem with that.
Now the truth serum comes out. It's the feel thing. It's the feel factor.
But
okay,
I rode Kobe hard, and he just Richard Pryor said it. He said, dudes be looking at Jerry West like Jerry West can play some motherfucking basketball. Like you pick up the paper, damn, Jerry West had 32 last night. He said Jerry West make niggas look crazy, make you look stupid. And sometimes you got to look at a player, you can't stand them on the court. And sometimes you got to be like, God damn, this nigga just killing us. Mm-hmm. And that's how it was with Kobe. I rode Kobe hard. When he went through that
I get it.
Yeah. But when
that was me with MJ.
Right. And see, most people understand that. When he went through the court case, the allegations and everything, immediately, that's off the court, everything. It went by the wayside because I was like, this is Kobe Bryant we're talking about. Why would he have to take something that's going to be thrown at him? And the girl came back that the girl had 8 different DNA. She had all the humanity in her panties. Boom. And my thing is, with that, everybody, and then even in death, when Gayle King said what she said, I don't give a damn about no apology. What Snoop said, I felt that. But through that, him still playing through it, and I was like, dog, I'm saying to myself, you got to beat this. You're going to beat this. When he played Boston, when the Lakers played Boston in 2008, I was pulling for Boston for a simple reason, because I was like, if Boston wins this championship, they'll win the championship on June 19th. I need Boston to win this championship on June 19th. It will erase. What was that? That was 22 years. No. Yeah. That was at 2008. Yeah, that was 22 years. It erased 22 years of bad luck. Because ever since Len Bias died, Boston fell off. They were a dynasty in every decade except the 90s. You had them come up in the 2000s and 2010s. Now we're in the 20s and they're still one of the top teams. So it's like it erased everything. I needed the Lakers to lose that. But I was so happy in 2004 when the Lakers played Detroit, because I was like, now we're getting back to 80s basketball where you got the Lakers in Detroit. Soon Boston's going to come up, and Boston came up a couple years later. Then you got Boston versus LA, which is one of the best rivalries in basketball. So I loved it. 2009 when they played Orlando. I don't like Dwight Howard. I can't stand Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard is the guy that I ride now because I can't stand him. And he ain't even in the league. I pulled for the Lakers to win that one. I was happy with that. When they played Boston the second time, I was like, this is just going to be a good series. And it went 7 games. It was a damn good series, but I was happy when Kobe won. I was pissed off that they didn't try to end his twilight years towards the end of his career. They didn't put a team around him to keep winning. It's just kind of like they just did stuff. But still, I was cool with it. Then you got the commercials and the one, oh man, when he told Kanye West, you got to be the same beast but a different animal. What the fuck do you mean by that, Kobe Bryant? You're welcome. I love that shit.
Right.
The retirement commercial where everybody was singing, you had Rasheed, Phil, you had everybody there singing to him. I love that commercial.
All right.
Here's something, and I'm gonna leave on this one. Brian McKnight's Anytime, right? This is how big of a Kobe fan I was. When Brian McKnight Anytime came out, he had the Hold Me remix. The Hold Me remix featuring Kobe Bryant. I'm a big Brian McKnight fan. Brian McKnight used to play in the NBA Entertainment League. He could actually ball just like Ice Cube, just like R. Kelly. They could all play ball. But when I saw that video on BET, I was like, I'm going to get that album. I went out that Saturday to go buy Anytime. Came home and played it, and the Hold Me remix was not on Anytime. I was so disappointed because I was like, I love Kobe's verse on that damn album. On that song, I love his verse. Wasn't on there. Only places available, YouTube. So, but that I had a love-hate, and the love was off the court, the hate was on the court, because I'm a Bulls fan now. I can't see myself pulling for anybody else other than the Bulls, but secretly, I was like, all right. I remember putting his final game on DVR, and I watched about 4 or 5 times because I was working at night that time. So I was keeping up with it while I was at work, but I watched the whole game. I watched it 4 or 5 times. The interview when him and Shaq sat down, and that was after Magic and Isaiah. And when him and Shaq sat down, that right there was just a therapeutic interview. I loved it. Now I'm hoping that Michael and Isaiah do one, but that's yet to be seen. No, I don't think it's happening. But, it's so many memories you can go with, love, hate. I love picking at him because it was Kobe Bryant. Like, dog, you're the best player in the world. I like, secretly, yeah, I bangs with you. You good. I can admit your greatness. Look here, man. I'm a Bulls fan. You're not going to keep making me look stupid. So, And when he didn't come to Chicago, that shit broke my heart.
So one anecdote, and then I'm good. So I'll never forget Game 7, Kings,
Queens,
and I'm in there's a bar in Arlington. It's called Champs. That's what it was. It was Champs. Dude, to say that it was like me and 2 other Laker fans, and we were catching real life like heat. I'm talking about villain. I'm talking about WCW, NWO, just heat, because we were the only ones rooting for the Lakers. And I knew before Stojakovic put the shot up, he wasn't making it. Like, there's a couple guys I got a list of guys that people like, but I just don't trust them in the playoffs. And that's a whole nother show and always new content. But Paige airballs it, and like we just stand. It's like 4 of us doing high fives in the whole place. And I swear to God, I didn't know if we was gonna make it out there without fighting. But it was a beautiful thing, man. It was beautiful times. And then the fact when Kobe takes Indiana, that game with Shaq fouls out and he just gives Indiana the business, and he does the push down, and he's telling Phil Jackson to chill out. I got this. Woo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, man. I got stories. I got moments. I could do a whole 2 hours by myself on that topic. Just the things that just stood out for me when it came to Kobe Bryant. But I know we don't do no overtime, and it looks like we overtime.
Yeah, we are. So we're going to go ahead and slide on out of here because it didn't got late. We didn't got caught up. But, hey, it's all good. So
no. You know what you do? You got to put a pin in it.
Yeah, cause look, we're going to have so many pins come this summer, man. Like, we're going to have content for days this summer.
Yeah.
So that's going to be good. We got pins to go around. So for the Midnight Rider.
Sports connoisseur.
Well, yeah. And we got sports coming up. So
let's do it.
Everybody enjoy your night for the Midnight Rider. I'm the big guy KG. We don't do no overtime. We didn't did it though. We are out of here.
Later.